My husband slept with my sister. So I invited her to our anniversary dinner and exposed everything. I never thought I'd be the type of woman who'd go digging through her husband's phone. I always prided myself on trust, on letting people be who they are without being controlled. But something had changed. It started subtly. Missed calls at night, text messages he'd immediately delete. That weird gut feeling I tried to dismiss but couldn't shake. James and I had been married for 6 years. We'd gone through job changes, house hunting, a miscarriage, and more arguments about in-laws than I care to count. Still, we were strong. At least I thought so. That's what made the shift in his behavior all the more jarring. He became colder, distracted, and weirdly over-affectionate at times, like he was trying to make up for something. Then there was my sister, Lauren. We were close growing up, shared secrets, clothes, and childhood trauma. But ever since she moved back to our city after a messy divorce, something felt off. She was always around, always texting James for advice or dropping by unannounced. I chalked it up to loneliness. I didn't want to believe anything else. Until one night, James fell asleep on the couch, phone unlocked and glowing beside him. I didn't even plan to snoop. I was just going to put it on the charger. But a preview from Lauren popped up on the screen. I miss you. I can still taste you. I froze. My hand trembled as I tapped into their messages. The thread was long, too long. Explicit messages, secret meetups, even pictures. My heart dropped. I sat there in silence, watching 6 years of my marriage collapse in real time. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was outside of my body. The betrayal stung in layers. James, the man I vowed to build a life with, and Lauren, my sister, my blood. The two people I trusted most had stabbed me in the back. I wanted to scream, to shake him awake and demand answers. But instead, I took screenshots, dozens. Every message, every picture, every date. I sent them to myself and deleted the evidence. Because if there's one thing I learned growing up with Lauren, it's that she's a master manipulator. If I confronted her without proof, she'd twist it, gaslight me, maybe even get James on her side. Not this time. I wasn't going to be the crying, heartbroken wife. I was going to be the woman who smiled while she planned her revenge, and it all started with an invitation. 2 weeks later, I told James I wanted to plan something special for our anniversary. A dinner, I said, smiling sweetly. Just the two of us, and one surprise guest. He raised an eyebrow, curious but distracted. Maybe he thought it was a friend or some romantic gesture. Little did he know, I had already picked the perfect venue, a cozy private dining room at the restaurant where we'd had our first date. I booked the place under my maiden name. I wanted to control everything, the lighting, the seating, even the playlist. The night before, I confirmed with the staff, candlelight, champagne on arrival, and a custom dessert message that read, "To new beginnings," and well-deserved endings. Then I called Lauren. I kept my voice calm and upbeat. "Hey, I know this might sound weird, but James and I would love it if you joined us for dinner tomorrow. It's our anniversary, and I just want the family to be close. You've been such a big part of our lives." She hesitated. "Are you sure? That sounds intimate." "Oh, absolutely," I said. "It'll be fun. Just dress nice and don't be late." That night, I barely slept. My heart thudded like a drumline, not out of fear, but anticipation. This wasn't just about payback. It was about closure, about letting the lies crumble in front of them both. When the evening arrived, I dressed in the red dress James once said made me look dangerous. I wore it like armor. James arrived first, looking uncomfortable in a suit he hadn't worn in months. He kissed my cheek, acting normal. Maybe he still thought I didn't know. Maybe he assumed he'd gotten away with it. Then Lauren walked in. She was in white, like she thought this was her celebration. The nerve. She looked from James to me, a flicker of confusion in her eyes. "Surprise," I said, raising my glass. The whole family, together again. Dinner started off calm. Small talk, fake smiles, awkward silences. I watched them squirm. They didn't know how much I knew. Not yet. Then I handed out the envelopes. "Happy anniversary," I said to James. "And Lauren, thank you for being such a supportive sister. I made something special for both of you." They opened them. Inside, printed screenshots of every message, every photo, every lie. And then, silence. For a moment, all I heard was the clink of silverware and the quiet background music. James stared at the papers in his hands like they were written in a foreign language. Lauren's face went pale, like ghost pale. Her fork slipped from her fingers and clattered onto her plate. James looked at me, wide-eyed like a deer caught in headlights. "What? Where did you get this?" he finally asked, his voice low and cracked. "I found your secret," I said calmly, sipping my wine. "You weren't exactly good at hiding it. Lauren jumped in then, eyes darting between us. Wait, you don't understand. This isn't, oh, it's exactly what it looks like. I cut her off. I read every word, every photo, every dirty little secret you two thought you could keep behind my back. James leaned forward, trying to grab my hand. Listen, babe, please, it was a mistake. I didn't mean for it to happen. Oh? Which time was the mistake? I snapped. The one in the back seat of your car, or the one in the guest room while I was visiting Mom in the hospital? His jaw dropped. Lauren tried to interrupt, but I held up a hand. No, I said, my voice sharp but controlled. I listened to your lies for months. Tonight, you listen. They were silent again. You took 6 years of love and loyalty, I told James, and threw it away for a few cheap thrills with my sister. And you, I turned to Lauren, you destroyed the only family bond we had left. After everything we went through together, you did this to me. For what? Attention? Revenge? Or just because you could? Lauren finally snapped, standing up and pointing a shaking finger at me. You think you're so perfect? Always the favorite, always the golden child. I was sick of being in your shadow. Ah, there it was, the truth. So you slept with my husband to get out of my shadow? I said coldly. Congratulations, you've got all the attention now. James put his head in his hands, muttering something about being sorry, that he'd fix it, that he never stopped loving me. I laughed. Actually, I laughed. Love? You call that love? You humiliated me. You both did. And the best part? I pulled out my phone and hit play. A recording began. Their voices, clear as day, from one of their secret meetups. James's eyes widened in horror. You recorded us? I smiled. Of course I did. Then I leaned forward, calm as ever, and said, you have no idea how far this goes. The look on their faces when that recording played, worth every second of the pain they caused me. It wasn't just the guilt, it was fear. Because now, they both knew this wasn't some emotional outburst. I'd planned this, documented it, and I wasn't going to keep quiet. I'm filing for divorce, I said flatly, locking eyes with James. Tomorrow morning, he looked like he'd been punched. No, please wait, we can talk about this. There's nothing to talk about. I already have a lawyer, and thanks to the texts, emails, photos, and that, I pointed at my phone, I have a very compelling case for infidelity, which means you're going to lose the house. Lauren scoffed. You're being dramatic. Dramatic? I turned to her. Honey, this is me being civilized. I could have outed you at a family reunion. I could have sent this to Mom, to your ex-husband. I leaned closer. Remember your custody battle? Because I do, and I know a few judges who wouldn't take kindly to this kind of behavior. Her face twisted in panic. You wouldn't. Oh, I absolutely would. James stood up, pacing. Please don't ruin everything. I messed up, okay? I'll do anything. I'll cut her off. We'll go to therapy. It's already ruined, I said. You ruined it. And as for cutting her off, don't bother. She'll be too busy explaining all this to our family after I'm done. The check arrived. I had already paid in advance. I stood up, gathering my things. The server gave me a small nod. He knew. I'd given him the heads up. I even tipped extra to make up for the chaos. I'll be moving out for a while, I said coolly. And by the way, don't try to delete anything. It's all backed up in multiple places. James just stood there, stunned. Lauren sat frozen, arms crossed, visibly shaking. And I walked out, head high, heart racing, but steady. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I didn't spiral. I poured myself a glass of wine, turned on some music, and started packing the essentials. My mind was buzzing with clarity. For the first time in months, I didn't feel crazy. I felt powerful, in control. I wasn't just reacting to betrayal, I was reclaiming my life from it. And I had one more card to play. The next morning, I scheduled a family brunch. My parents, siblings, even Lauren. She wouldn't dare skip it. She knew I had proof. I was done keeping secrets for other people. It was time everyone else heard the truth, too. The family brunch was scheduled for 11 a.m. at my parents' house, neutral ground. I arrived a little early, calm but sharp. I brought a folder, neatly labeled and sealed, with everything they'd need to see. No theatrics this time, just the truth. Lauren walked in 10 minutes late, sunglasses on, barely looking at anyone. James didn't show. Coward, I didn't expect him to. But his absence only made what came next easier. My mom greeted everyone, cheerful and oblivious. My dad was grilling outside. It was all painfully normal. Until I stood up, cleared my throat, and said, "Before we eat, there's something I need to say." The room went quiet. I held up the folder and said, "I found out 2 weeks ago that James was having an affair. With Lauren." Gasps, silence. My mom dropped a spoon. My brother swore under his breath. I handed the folder to my mom. It's all here, screenshots, dates, messages. I'm filing for divorce. And Lauren? I turned to her, still composed. You're no longer welcome in my life. She tried to talk, of course. It was a mistake. I was vulnerable. We didn't mean for it to happen. Don't insult us, I said. You meant every second of it. You chose to lie again and again. You looked me in the eyes while sleeping with my husband. That's not a mistake. That's who you are. My mom started crying. My dad walked in just in time to hear the end. Lauren was trying to spin it again, saying she didn't want to hurt anyone, that James manipulated her. I don't care who started it, I said. You both finished it, and now I'm ending it. I left shortly after that. I didn't want an apology. I didn't need anyone to take sides. I wasn't looking for pity. I just wanted the truth out in the open. No more lies, no more whispering. The fallout was immediate. Lauren tried to salvage her image. She told the extended family I'd overreacted. But it didn't matter. Most of them saw the proof, heard the recordings, knew what she'd done. James emailed me a week later, a long, rambling apology about how he missed me, how he'd made the biggest mistake of his life. I didn't respond. Instead, I blocked him, changed my number, got a new place. I started going to therapy, reconnected with old friends, and took a solo trip to Portugal. And for the first time in years, I felt free. They thought they broke me. They thought I'd crumble, crawl back, beg for love. But I didn't. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't screaming or fighting or exposing people in public. Sometimes it's walking away with your head high and never looking back.